Hello and welcome to part 6 of the above tank basking platform. Did not think I was doing a part 6 to this series, but I did a series of upgrades to my past design, and I also did a little bit of maintenance that I wanted to show you guys. To anyone that actually made this would be interesting. Otherwise, I would suggest going back to part 1 that starts out on how to make the general design that you're looking at on top of my tank. Otherwise, if you do have this already, you might be interested in some ways to make it just a little bit better. So I want to show you a couple things that I did to upgrade this, and the rest of the video will be kind of how I did that, and also just a couple of maintenance things that I had to do. I've now had this set up for about 7 months, so there's a couple things that have happened since then that I want to show you, and you might have the same problems, and they're really easy fixes. So let's take a look real quick. Alrighty, so this is the basking platform. You can see these acrylic pieces definitely gotten a little dusty. We'll clean those off. This LED strip is good, but it's really high up, so not much light actually reaches down to where the turtles are. And I want to try to fix that by putting an LED strip along that back wall and across the platform, all underneath, so it just lights the water in the tank. Alright, so in the back you can see that looks like a little paint has been chipped off. That might be from a turtle, that might be from me moving things. That's alright. We're just going to put a patch of paint over that to protect it. So here is where I have the majority of my damage and replacement that I want to do on this basking platform. So as you can see, the sticky tile, this vinyl tile, has gotten quite a bit of use from the turtles, so it's starting to peel and chip and come loose. I tried to glue it once, but that didn't work. So the reason I really like this vinyl tile is it's super cheap, it's replaceable, and if you get a real tile, you have to get it cut to this shape, or you have to design everything to the shape of the tile. But this is just a lot easier. I can cut it myself, and I can replace it when I need to, and it's just really easy to work with. So we're going to replace this tile, and we are going, as you can see, the turtles are up here a lot, so they've scratched the wall, and I'm going to touch this up with paint. I'm going to use the exact same paint I used before, but just protect that raw wood from all the moisture and the turtles yet again. And then in the back here, so I've got, Moses has moved, as I mentioned, and I used to have this nesting area for her to lay her eggs. She never actually used it. She just preferred to put the eggs in a tank and then eat them. Savage. But I don't need this here anymore because I have 2 males in the tank. So I'm actually going to make it in just a little area they can hang out. And you'll see what that looks like as we go on. And yeah, so that's the bulk of what I want to do, is make this area look better, put a little background back there, make it look nice, replace these tiles, and just clean up everything in general. Alright, to give you an idea of the basics that are going to go into this maintenance and upgrade. So we have our vinyl tiles that we're going to replace, slightly different design, I like these better. We have LED light strip. It's plenty long, I'll have to cut it to fit, but they're designed to cut at certain locations. And then I actually bought this aluminum channel and light cover to kind of dull the intensity of each LED light. It helps hold the LED strip firmly underneath the basking platform, because you can use these little metal clips. And with this plastic piece over the LED, the turtle can't swim up and try to bite it off, which they've done in the past, and they've actually destroyed 2 LED strips I've gotten because they just bit right through it. Luckily no one was hurt. I'm going to use 100% silicone around the edges of the basking platform just to keep it a little cleaner and things can't fall through the cracks because it's not watertight wooden construction. And then here's my brush and the same paint I used originally. I'm just going to do a little bit of touch up. So I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is install our LED strip light. So I flipped over the basking platform because the ramp gets in the way of keeping this thing flat when it's right side up. So The first thing to notice is that there's this recess that's about 3/4 of an inch that makes up the whole basking area where the turtles climb up and they walk around. But then it comes back up to where the frame sits on the outside of the tank, and then where it comes in for filter tubing and heater and air tubing to sneak in the back of the tank. So I have these aluminum channels I'm going to use to hold the LED strip in place, and those have little metal clips that get screwed in. I probably only need 2 to hold this steady and where it needs to be. But notice that if I were to just keep this thing going straight across, I would have a 3/4 inch gap, a 3/4 inch gap. But notice if I were to just install this as it is, half of it would be on the frame of the basking platform and half would be 3/4 an inch off. So I need some sort of shim to bridge that gap. That way I can put these clips that hold this aluminum channel into something to hold it. So once I locate everything, I need to glue my 3/4 inch piece of wood. This is just spare that I had painted for another project, so it's already ready to go. I'm going to use just Wood Glue Max by Elmer's. This isn't really a structural thing, it's just going to be the weight of an LED light, which is really nothing. So I'm going to glue it to the bottom, and while that's drying, I'm actually just going to install everything, which means I'm going to install these metal clips first, then I'm going to install the channel on those clips, then I'm going to install the LED strip, then I'm going to put the cover over the LED strip, and we're done. So pretty simple. Let's get to it. Alright, so we got this channel installed. It took 2 clips, 2 screws each. They're self-tapping, so just give the screwdriver a little force, they'll go right into the wood. So now this is kind of being held in place. Yes, this still needs to dry, it'll be fine. But now we can put our LED strip in, which is actually sticky, which is nice. We're going to have to clip the LED strip at the length we want. So in this LED strip light package, it's called June When, lights up your world. So this is just a white light, but it has an adjuster so you can make it more intense, which is nice to have. Has basically your power supply here that plugs into your switch, and then that switch will plug into your LED. This comes in a roll. It's way too many feet long. We're going to cut it to about 40 inches, a little more, 44 inches. But it just kind of looks like this. You can unroll it to whatever you need, and then there's these little areas where you have these terminals that you can end by cutting. There's a little line, and that's where you cut these. So just unravel it to the longest portion that will stay under that channel and cut it. And again, this is going to be your tail that will go into your power supply, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to design this, that your tail is long enough to reach your power supply and your adjuster. Otherwise, you're going to have some awkward extension cables or whatever you need to do. Just make sure everything gets out of the tank before you have to start plugging things in. Otherwise, there's potential that your plugs will go directly in the water, and you never want that to happen, and you know why. Light strips installed, plastics over the light. I put a little plastic stopper at the end that comes with the little channel. I actually had to extend the LED strip past the piece of aluminum channel, but that's going to be okay because I used the clips that come with the LED strip just to hold it down there, so there's only a very little bit showing, but that was so I could get this cord that's going to plug into our power just a little further out to the side, so it can go over the edge. So let's just, before we put all this stuff back together, let's test it out, make sure everything lights up as it should. There you go. Lights up, you can dim it, you can make it brighter. Looks really good. This white plastic cover kind of dulls the LED intensity per bulb a good amount. It'd still show up under the water, so we'll see how it looks when we get it in there. But I think it's going to be a lot better than my previous light I had way above the water. Alright, Turtle Basking Dock is back up. The LED strip light is on it now, and it's time to take care of this top tile that was looking really bad and beat up. And I'm actually going to replace it with a different looking tile. It looks like this. Kind of has like a wood structure to it. And let me just give you an idea of what it looks like without all of the nesting area and ramp in there. So I have 3 of those tiles. I'm only going to replace the damaged one because I'm going to be putting something else in the back there. It's going to be a turf grass. So it'll cover up all of that other tile design, so I don't need to take it out. Alright, while ripping this off, the silicone on the side is actually holding on to it really well. So I'm going to have to kind of cut it out with some knives and just do what I can here. Pretty tough. Bear with me. Alright, so from grabbing all of this, I now have this area I need to clean up with paint. Just do a touch-up. Put the same paint I put on there before. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. And then I'm going to work on the back here while that dries. And then I'm going to put my new tile down after all of that. This is actually a little damp too. Got a little sand underneath it. And then there's another spot over on the left here that I need to touch up. This is a good time to do it. Alright, this is all dried off now. Time to install our new tile. This is a pretty small area. This is a 12 by 12 tile, and this is much smaller than that. I'm going to measure it out. I'm going to try and center it on the tile design so it looks a little better on here. And let's see how it looks. And let's get to it. Alright, so the new tile is in. I put a little silicone in the front and the inside here underneath the tile just to keep it sticky. Got a little sandy, and in the past I had some areas where that would actually pop up, so gave a little adhesive so that hopefully it sticks a little better next time. And then I put it around the corners just to, similar to the rest of the corners, just to kind of seal off all of these edges here because it's not watertight or dirt tight or whatever, so just keeps it just keeps all the dirt up on top, and I can easily clean that off instead of getting in the cracks and nooks and crannies. Next part is really going to complete the package here. We're going to put in our background. You can take a look at it. It's going to be mountains. That's Garden of the Gods, a bit of a natural wonder around here, and then Pikes Peak, gigantic mountain. And it'll look really nice. It'll basically wrap around all the way up to where the basking platform under the heat lamp will start, because the turtles will mostly spend their time here, and I'm okay having the picture end right there because they're going to scratch all around there and they're going to ruin this paper poster. But the poster had some white kind of framing on it. I just removed that so that it fits really nicely, and it actually fits perfectly between the tile and the top rims I have to hold the light screen. So I'm going to use double-sided tape to attach this to the wall of my basking platform, and then once I get that in there, I'm going to put this turf in, and it's basically used for people's like balconies or little areas in their backyards that they use for the pets, or just to have their kids play on. I don't know, but it's like legitimate turf, and it looks realistic and looks good. I'll have to trim it, of course, to get it to fit in there, but that's the last step. And then this thing is going to be all upgraded and ready to go. And that's it. Upgrades complete. Let's take a quick look, shall we? Our paint has dried and it looks good, blends in again. And our new lawn for the turtles looks awesome. And that's the upgrade, folks. Hope this gives inspiration. I have no idea if there'll be a part 7. Throw ideas at me, maybe I will add them to the setup and I will make another video on how I did it. Thanks for listening. See ya!